Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. The following video contains a plot/storyline of My Little Pony, the movie. After a fancy MLP movie logo, a couple of ponies go by, being all happy and excited and talking about the Festival of Friendship. Hooray! Festival of Friendship. The Princess of Friendship is planning it. Yay! Then Spike comes passing by, looking for Twilight, but we find her first. It looked like she was meditating.
My goodness, I can't handle this!
No, she was just worried, as usual. But don't worry, Spike reminds her to not worry so much, and before she goes to talk with her fellow princesses, the most important thing. Just don't go all Cheshire Cat on them. We enter the double doors and find the three princesses in the throne room, waiting to meet her. Yes, all three. Sunblood, Darkside, and even Mama Love. Twilight pitches an idea to them. She wants them to use air magic to make IAOC's live performance look fabulous. Here's the short version, in case you were wondering. Celeste will move her sun at an angle, Luna will move her moon at an angle, and Dance will create an aurora. All three will shine together and create a pretty light show. Sounds simple enough, though Celeste chooses to plan down. Don't worry, Princess Twilight. All you need is the magic of friendship. But you can't just do this small, simple thing for me. No, Twilight. Our powers are not meant to be played around with like that. What if you just make another Halicorn spirit bomb and let me do it all? Twilight, you're not growing all DVDs up in here. End of story. Back at the festival, the main five are getting ready. Rainbow's clearing the sky, Pinky's making balloons, AJ's cooking with Rainbow drinking cups of cider rarities decorating, and Fluttershy is prepping the birds to sing. With Angel, who apparently wants to join the bird in singing, you can see the excitement in his face. Twilight and Spike rejoin them and get a little discouraged, but Pinky gives the perfect reassurance.
This day will define who you are! The pressure is intense! It's almost too much for any single pony to handle! Ah!
Although, up front, the five of them don't look like the best. Rainbow even has a small bird. Not that I blame her. I'd get gassy when I drink root beer in the blink of an eye. If you think this didn't work to boost her spirits, then maybe the first song will. We Got This Together is an okay, cheery song that shows off a lot of ponies. And I mean a lot. It's got Trixie, Starlight, Big Mac, Apple Bloom, Sassy Saddles, Coco, Octavia, Vinyl, Derpy, Zecora, Photo Finish, The Wonderbolts, even Moonbanker and Cheese Sandwich. There's most likely some I missed. The song ends with one of the best things you can ever get. Cake. From a giant party cannon.
Pinky!
Though, Twilight seemed to got battered a bit by layers, and is not amused. But it'll have to wait, because SIASOC shows up.
Hiya! I'm looking for the pony in charge. I need to set up for my sound check.
And doesn't really do anything.
You have visual on Buttercream. Visual confirmed. Go for cleanup.
And not just because the antagonistic force came in.
Ryan, no!
Only a few minutes in and we're at the heels of adventure. Grubber comes out and introduces Storm King, who looks like he's itching to become the next president. He's got my vote. Then Tempest gets introduced and comes out with a warning. Give the magic willingly or this will get difficult. They refuse and they're swarmed. Pretty easily. Seriously, Equestria needs a better defense system. I'll bet they could all get captured by goodness without fail if the royal guards aren't any better than Toad. Tempest then quickly kicks the plasma grenade, crystal grenade, and petrifies the princesses, one by one. Even the dance's shield fails to this. Celeste tries to tell Luna to go find the Queen of Hippos before she gets owned. Again. And Luna gets a few shots before joining them. Twilight almost joins them, but Rainbow saves her and replaces her with Derpy, and I'm all like... The chase is on, the less than 30 seconds chase. She tries a shot, it gets reflected back, and our heroes fall down a waterfall.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall.
Yep.
Sharp rocks at the bottom?
Most likely.
Bring it on.
Grubber gives up because he can't swim and he just ate. He'll just sink and get a cramp, but he's got other problems. Like telling Tempest and being small and fat.
I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
Sorry, big boned. A little bit later.
We just got our cupcakes handed to us by the worst party crasher ever. I gotta go back there and fight.
You saw the size of those goons? You seriously want to go back? So now what?
Twilight says they have to go find the queen of the hippos. Random hungry hippos joke, and they head south, towards possibly the only hope left to save the day. Back at Canterlot, Tempest tells Storm King about the successful invasion. With a Skype call. Seriously, there's even a dialed-up sound effect, but the call had difficulties at the end and gets dropped. Probably used AOL. Grubber comes by and tells the bad news.
She might have got away. A little bit. I know you're disappointed, but I got one word for you. Sponge cake.
Tempest tells him to prep the ship and says the old "how far can they go" cliché. Well, given how the show treats time elapses, it could range from a few minutes to a few days. But since the Storm King arrives in 3 days, I'll just guess less than 24 hours. Back to our heroes, they find themselves at the desert and they're all like,
Water! H2O, please.
Gravy! I'm frying! The fat lady just sang, boys! My life is flashing before my eyes. What life?
Eventually, they find the road and follow it to the first new locale, Cluja Town. And for some reason, it reminds me a lot of Hollow Bastion. If it were in a Ruba. Speaking of Ruba, the people there are what you'd expect, unfriendly and only work for cash. Or whatever you can give, as the movie says. Soon they get notices and the crowd seems to want to take them for themselves. Even one of them wants to collect them all. You know, typical brawny logic. But they get saved by Capper, the cueless street cat you'll want to run into, with a kind of disease trick. Something involving spots. Twilight doesn't think they should trust him, but that cat has something that seems to convince the others. The song.
I'm the friend that you need.
I'm the friend you need is more interesting than the last song since it uses a new type of boom, tango, and is one of the few male singing types. The only thing about it is that mainly used as a montage to get us through the town. At least it's as mine heart tried. Also, if it weren't obvious at the end, he's planning to sell them.
He's a friend! Such a friend!
He's a friend indeed.
He takes them to his litter box, the random, but better, lions, tigers, and bear reference, and Twilight finds something that may help. It's a book in case you were wondering. Meanwhile, Tempest comes to town and starts the search for them. The town doesn't give them any trouble, but one thinks she's working to cap her and confronts them.
The worst party crasher ever!
Oh, Fishman just got dropped!
She wins in 3 moves and begins to interrogate him. Off-screen? Because, you know, his movie. Back at campus, the gang are quite enjoying the company. Rainbow even talks about the sonic rain boom. Technically, this is the second time she mentions it in the movie. Surely this won't fuel her ego to do that later. Also, Rarity fixes up his suit for free and he seems a little warmed by it, much like how you would pet your cat. Unless that cat is lazy. Or evil. Twilight comes back and found out where to go, but Capper doesn't seem to want to let them go, only to have Rico, the naked mole rat in a steampunk getup, show up at the door, ready to cage our heroes. Tempest soon comes by and Virgo is fascinated about her, wanting to know what she can do. He gets tapped, bro.
Please don't tase me, bro!
Neat distraction at least, since it allows the main 6 to go for an escape. It involves riding the broken windmill, being chased by it, and boarding an airship that's just about to leave. all part of the plan.
Best escape plan ever!
Meanwhile, Tempest takes Capper hostage and tries to get some info out of him. He's about to rat them out, but has a small change of heart and tries to lead them away. Kinda random for a stranger you just met to save you like that, but I guess that's why the prequels exist. Back to our little pony, they find out by a group of anthropomorphic parrots who are working for the Storm King. They're about to be thrown overboard until...
Alright, that's lunch!
What?
Hey, it's only fair union rules, especially since they're only delivery birds. They even let the gang join them, so that works out. Turns out that before they met the Storm King, they used to be swashbuckling treasure hunters. The good guy version of pirates. They also had more than one lunch break. Man, my job at Macy's is more forgiving than that. Rainbow then decides to try to convince them to go back to who they really are. With yet another song.
There's a light.
Time to Be Awesome is tied to being my favorite song in this movie. It's very uplifting, motivative, and has some nice antics. They'll either make you laugh at how silly they are or leave you in awe at how cool it is.
Awesome!
Speaking of cool, Rainbow performs the Sonic Rain Boom like we didn't see that coming. And not only does this seal the deal in convincing the pirates, but also shows Tempest where they are. Oops, Tempest is on her way, since her ship seems to have turbos, and the gang is hidden inside the ship. And yes, Rainbow, they saw your rain boom. In a place full of gray skies and clouds, it's hard to miss. Captain Solino tries to convince her that they only have merchandise on board. Storm King merchandise. I'm sure we'll see some ad at convention very soon. I totally want a poster of the guy. It looks so cool. Tempest isn't buying it, the story about no princess on board, not the merchandise, and Twilight is worried. Tempest give the count of 3 cliché and it looks like they're gonna be a fight.
Oh, this is intense!
I know, right? And at 3, the gang begin to fall. Again, part of the plan. And remember, when you're falling to your doom, be sure to laugh about it. It should make the wait less painful. Luckily, Twilight scoops them up, and makes a makeshift air balloon.
That was fun! Can we do it again?
How about we don't and say we did? And with that it's smooth sailing to Mount Harris. Can't say the same for Capper and the pirates. Grubber finds a cupcake like he's never seen anything like it before, and the map we found in that one book that shows where they're going. Capper pretty much got caught with his pants down. For lying, of course. He never had pants to begin with. I doubt that joke would have worked on Tempest, because she always seems to be in a bad mood. Like leaving you for dead in a ship that just got wrecked.
Tough crowd.
Tell me about it.
Speaking of wrecks, Twilight's makeshift balloon was wrecked at the shore and the gang find themselves taking the stairs.
Cannot even! The bad guys have won! I'm so sorry!
Rarity, you've got issues. I mean, it's not like when Rainbow and Pinky went to Griffinstone. On second thought, this kind of is like that. Only not as long and perilous to get there, and the city is even worse than Griffinstone. Eventually, the gang follow a voice to the naked lady. You know, for kids. She notices them. They followed her in the water. And just like my analysis side of my investment in this movie, the gang goes down the drain.
I hate epic adventures!
They found themselves completely submerged underwater and they drowned. The end. Yeah, right. They survive, thanks to some head-sized bubbles, thanks to the naked lady earlier. Her name is Princess Skystar and she's a sea pony. Yup, friendship is magic finally gets sea ponies. Except for that one time. She takes them to her mother and we find out what happened to the hippogriffs. It actually ties in well with the prequel book, if you read it.
Oh, it's such a good story.
Don't you dare tell them!
Skystar, I guess, convinces her mom, Queen Novo, to test the air magic pearl that turns the main six into sea ponies and Spike into a pufferfish. Not sure if that's an upgrade or downgrade from being a dog. Everyone seems to like it. Even Twilight thinks this Omnitrix pearl thing it will help them fight back. Not quite sure how she got to that assumption, but okay. Queen Novo, however, refuses to give them the pearl because she doesn't want it in the Storm King's hands.
Time for my seaweed wrap.
After the Queen leaves, Skystar offers them to stay, but they refuse. Then Pinky suggests to stay for just a little bit, and Twilight agrees.
What?
Twilight says they need to come up with a plan and convinces Pinky to show Skystar a good time along with the other. Don't worry. She's not up to anything suspicious. I'm sure of it. We catch up with Skystar, who's pretty down in the dumps, and Pinky comes out of nowhere with the next song.
One small thing, it's a good place to start.
One Small Thing is a very cute little montage song that somehow manages to convince the Queen to change her mind. Not too shocking, since the past songs have worked in a similar way. Unfortunately, before she can help them with something. Okay, huge spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. Twilight tries to steal the pearl. Yeah, that happens.
Who are you?
Queen Novo is mad. So mad that she changes them back to ponies and kicks them out. You'd think she'd throw them in the dungeon or something. Back at the surface, everyone confronts Twilight for her grand theft attempt. Twilight is most likely under a lot of pressure because she says some few choice word. Trust me, you're better off hearing it than me saying it and breaking Pinky's heart. The five decide to give Twilight some space so she can go cry. I really wish I had some joke to lighten this up. Really. But we do get something to break this sad tension though. It's Spike getting captured by a stormtrooper, or whatever they're called, and Twilight gets captured. I don't quite get how the others don't see or hear any of this, but whatever. At least Spike gets away. But I don't think I should say how. Trust me. It's cool, but a little worrisome. Inside the shit, Tempest confronts her with a song. Open Up Your Eyes, Right with Time to Be Awesome, is tied to being my favorite song of the movie. It's a villain song that not only has a kind of villain's win vibe, but also somewhat shows us Tempest's past. It ends with a wild view of Equestria, in a great, depressing setting. I swear, you can even see Ponyville in the corner. Back to the girls, who are also sulking. Spike delivers the news, but it looks like they have no way of saving her until Capper and the pirates show up. I do wonder how they survived though, but whatever. They give them a little pep talk about what they just went throughout this movie. Also, Skystar show up in her hippogriff form to help as well. Back at Canterlot, we see that everyone is pretty much being treated like animals. Really. The CMCs are in cages and some ponies have muzzles. Saoirse tries to lighten things up with some singing, but it looks like those goons aren't into her kind of music. They'd probably like me and prefer stuff like Linkin Park or whatever. Seeing this definitely doesn't do Twilight any favors, especially the sight of the princesses in their rocky prisons. I swear though, if you listen closely, you can hear Celeste with a low cry. Twilight tries to convince Tempest one last time to stop all this, but it's too late because guess who's here? It's Storm King. Took the movie long enough to get him here. He starts to drain the princess's magic and apparently all of the magic in the city itself. Then he gives his new power staff a test drive by blasting Twilight through a wall and playing around with the sun and moon. So first he rips off Tyrek and now Discord. Who's next? King Sombra. Just outside the city gates, we find Capper and the main five coming along with a big old cake. Spike's even the candle on top. didn't know he could hold his fire breath for a long time like that. Thanks to a little charm, Capert and the girls get inside. Before they could get to the throne, Grubber goes to try some of the cake. Much to my disapproval. If I knew a cat made any kind of food, my first thing I don't want to taste is tuna and liver. Oh, and the cake is a lie. The pirates burst out and Sky start, I guess, and a pretty sweet fight scene happens. Two things stand out to Pinky. One, she smacks a stormtrooper with a cupcake, and it make a blood spill on the wall reference. Two, she rapid fires cupcakes and it leads to a little bit of this.
Oh, I feel the adrenaline in it, baby!
Double D! Double D! Relax, Luda! It's a toy! From Canada!
Fluttershy's moment is just cute. Instead of fighting like everyone else, she asks if he wants to talk about it. And it works. He even cries and waves goodbye. Captain Salino says he'll hold them off and our heroes head straight for the castle. Spike gets a moment of awesome as well. Capper uses his as a flamethrower, and the big, hairy goons are on fire. Seriously? It actually happened earlier when Twilight got caught. You know, for kids. Twilight comes around to see this and thinks it's the magic of friendship. Really? Did he drain your sanity as well? Unfortunately, Storm King isn't impressed and starts to create a hurricane-level storm, keeping the girls away from them. Better hope an F5 tornado doesn't show up or we're gonna need Superman to handle this. During all this, Tempest asks for her horn to be restored, and Storm King refuses, saying he was using her.
It's kind of what I do!
The two create an explosion from trying to zap each other and Twilight is left with a choice: get the staff or save Tempest. We all know what happens. And she does it because they're friends. Of course you two are. Let's get back to the awesome stuff, shall we?
Excellent idea!
Like, maybe, Pinky getting herself and her friends fired out of a giant cake cannon.
I'm excited! Who's excited? I've never been so excited!
And slammed into the Storm King. Twilight rejoins her friends. She and Pinky make up, and the staff goes haywire, causing the storm to intensify. They make a pony and one dragon chain and Storm King comes too, thus making this the chase for the important item of victory cliché. No Krunk to save the day.
Whoa. What are the odds that trapdoor leading me out here?
Instead, Twilight manages to just get it in the last second, but gets sucked up with Storm King, and the storm eventually dies. Not implying Twilight died or anything. She comes back down like an angel from heaven and they begin the group hug. And the cliches keep coming cause Storm King also survives and tries to petrify them, but Tempest jumps in to block it and it causes both Tempest and Storm King to get trapped in stone. The two fall and the Storm King shatters into pieces. When I said Sombra was next to be ripped off, I didn't literally mean ear. Sheesh. Tempest would have been joining him, but the gang uses the staff to levitate her to safety. How is the staff even in an easy-to-use state after all that just happened anyway? The staff restores Tempest. Just because. And they use the staff again in the throne room to free the princesses and fix all of Canterlot. Like nothing ever happened. We seriously need that kind of magic in real life. Beats paying for home insurance. After that, the festival continues with SIASOC, and I know her name is Songbird Serenade singing Rainbow. We find out Tempest's real name, and that's the end of the movie. No refunds.